don't do dumb stuff and you're not going to get regulated.
Worst case scenario, you just walk their ass in the ground and butter.
I'm going to get fired up here. This stuff really irritates me.
I grew up in a little farming town in Central California.
If you don't, my biggest pet peeve is there's areas where they close the roads down.
I left, didn't take a pat, no water, no food, blah, 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 nothing. Figured it was going to be kind of a quick hunt. And we are rolling. Welcome to Season Hunter Podcast. This is our first podcast. I'm your host, Darrell Nunez. A lot of my friends know me as Ponch. And over here is the other host. And
yeah, my name's John Tolbert.
I call him JT.
He calls me JT. He's probably the only one that calls me JT, actually. But anyway, yeah. So this is the Seasoned Hunter podcast, kind of Darrell's brainchild. It's been coming. He's been talking about it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
He asked me a couple months ago if I wanted to be involved with it, and I jumped at the chance. It's something that I'm not very familiar with, but I do a lot of video type stuff, so I thought it'd be an easy transition. But Darrell, what about the name?
So I kind of came up, I've actually got to learn to enjoy, in most podcasts, there's a lot of really informational ones out there. And the name Seasoned Hunter kind of came from, I guess, my age. I've been around for a little longer than a lot of... There's plenty of hunters out there that are our age or close to our age. But I just thought being kind of seasoned or experienced, that it would be kind of a name that people could relate. Maybe the gray. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of where it came from initially. And, between just life and COVID and everything going on, I kind of just got pushed to the side. And then, you and I have been doing stuff with Sagebuck Outdoors for years. And I know that you are really good with videoing and that type of stuff anyway. And I thought, hey, this might be a pretty good mix. I mentioned it to you, and I know you kind of tossed around stuff in the past, but it just kind of came together, which,
right.
We've worked together long enough. I think that we know each other's personalities, and we get a chance to hunt together some. And it's been how long have we known each other now? Has it been?
Oh, I'm trying to think the first time we met might have been at the archery shop.
Yeah.
When it was
2000.
Advantage Archery here in Twin Falls.
Yeah.
And I think that's when
early 2000s.
Dennis owned it. Yeah, it's been quite a while ago. So we've known each other for a long time. We didn't really start doing stuff together for quite a while until after that. I think at that time I wasn't even filming hunts yet. So I
remember running into you in a store one time, and you were talking. You had been filming a little bit, and you just started editing. It was around the holidays one year. I remember that. And then, it was a few years later. I had been filming a little bit too here and there, but mostly, that's what even got me started filming was my dad. He was getting up in age, and I know, he'd always like hearing my stories. And at that time, I was shooting a lot of competitive archery, locally mostly, nothing like nationally or anything. But he'd love to go out there and just sit in his chair and watch me shoot my bow and come back and hear my stories, tell me how crazy I was when I'd leave on a solo hunt for 10 or 14 days and how crazy I was for doing that. And so I started learning just to film a little bit and bring it home and try to figure out how I could plug it in my TV to watch. And it was usually just off the camera onto there. I never really edited anything. It was just all raw footage. And then I think I mentioned to you one time about maybe film or editing some of the stuff I filmed.
Right.
And you were just getting started in it.
Right.
And
I think that's exactly how we met each other. Actually, was I started doing some editing for you, which in the beginning I did a lot of that for people. They had a bunch of footage that they didn't know what to do with.
I filmed a bunch of kids' hunts.
Yes, those were actually pretty cool.
Yeah, mentoring kids.
And you did that, actually, wasn't it for a TV show at first?
Yeah, one time, yeah. And I mean, it was like a lot of people in the film industry or the hunting industry, show-wise, said it was just an awesome idea, but bad timing. And it was right when the economy crashed.
Yeah, so 2008-ish
Yeah,
probably.
2008, 2009. And so it kind of never really got off the ground. I mean, it was, like I said, a good idea. And it was so enjoyable. I started out with like Hunt of a Lifetime, helping Hunt of a Lifetime. And then I kind of think that's what gave me the itch, because I saw how much emotion, and the parents were there and the kids were there. And, you know, I can't tell you how many times I was behind the camera filming those hunts, and I'd have to be wiping the tears off, because it is an emotional thing, especially a first type hunt for, you know, kid and their parents being there. And so that kind of gave me the bug for that. And like I says, it was great idea, bad timing, and never really, and then prices really started going up as far as paying for shows and everything, and it just never got off, which is fine. I mean, but you edited all those videos, and if nothing else, all the kids were able to get that hunt that we captured on a DVD, and
right,
that was worth it right there.
Yeah, so we did actually. Now that I forgot about that. So we made DVDs, and you sent them to those kids, even though it was a few years after you had filmed the hunts.
Yeah.
And did one of them had passed away, or
there's actually been a couple of them that unfortunately passed away, like the Hunt of a Lifetime ones.
Right.
It was too bad, and you know, some good memories, and you know, that Hunt of a Lifetime, those type of organizations. There's a lot of other ones out there now that are similar to it. I think they're a great thing, you know.
Right.
And just mentoring kids, mentoring people in general. You know, I taught bow hunter ed for, you know, close to 15 years, and I always enjoyed that too, just teaching new people. You know, that's kind of always been a fun thing for me too.
Right.
And so
let's before we get too far into that, I want to backtrack, and I think both of us, because a lot of people don't know who we are.
Yeah.
And let's just tell me about like the start, like how you got started into the whole hunting. Just hunting, not the hunting industry, but just hunting in general.
Yeah, I grew up in a little farming town in Central California, and my dad was an avid hunter. Our whole family was. I mean, it was, you know, always every year, several trips, deer hunting and quail hunting and rabbit hunting and pheasant hunting, and I can recall, you know, I don't have a picture. I wish I did, but I do remember one distinct picture. My dad would come home with whatever he killed, and I'd want to take a picture of it. And I remember having one of those pajamas on with the feet.
Yeah.
Me holding the pheasant up. And someday I'll find that picture again. But I just have always had that love for the outdoors. More so, I have two brothers and two sisters. And more so than my brothers, I definitely got the bug. More so than my dad. You know, none of them ever bow hunted, and I've brought up gun hunting, shotgun hunting, a lot of duck hunting. The area I grew up was really well known for its duck hunting. And with that being said, I always said the first chance I get, even though it was California, it was a small town. And it butted up close to some hills. There's a lot of fishing. We did every year is a couple weeks of camping as a family. But I always said I wanted to go somewhere else. And, you know, I just wanted to go a place where I can hunt elk and have other opportunities. We had pig hunting there, which I still go back almost every year to California to hunt pigs and turkeys, and still have some good friends over there. And
right. So,
and I know you grew up there too, right?
I did. Before we get into that, I want to tell you a funny story. Darrell was working in Alaska at the time, and he called me and asked me if I would go to California with him and film a pig hunt. And I was like, heck yeah, that would be awesome. So we did. He actually paid for my flight out there. And anyway, I guess we got to the point where Darrell was getting ready to kill this pig, and he's sneaking on this pig. And I'm standing back filming. I'm back quite a ways, but I'm filming him, and he shoots this pig, and it takes off. He shoots and kills the pig, and I realized I didn't have the camera rolling. So I went all the way to California to film that hunt, which is, by the way, on the YouTube channel. But
fortunately,
Darrell had his GoPro on his
stabilizer.
Yeah, on the stabilizer.
First time I ever tried it, I thought, what the heck?
Right.
I'll do it and I'll turn it on, and I did. And that was, I think, I had it on a couple times through that hunt, but for the most part, you were filming. That was your job.
Right.
Yeah, one thing.
One job.
And then, when we got back at night, you're like, I don't know if I got that on.
Yeah.
I'm like, but you know what? It all worked out, and we had just enough footage from the GoPro.
Right.
To, even though it was a little fisheye and going out their ways, it still was enough you could see what happened. And we picked right up the next morning, and
exactly,
it turned out good.
It turned out pretty good.
Pretty emotional hunt, that whole thing with using I had a son that passed away in 2009, and so I got the last bow he had, which is a bow that I had given to him, and so I took that bow on there and shot that pig, which was an older bow as bows go, and. Anyway, I killed that pig with that. So that was pretty cool.
That was cool.
The deal was cool.
So anyway, So a little background on myself. I grew up in Northern California. It's something you hate to admit when you live in Idaho because you get a lot of crap for it.
But how many years you been here?
Yeah, so I got here and we moved here. My wife and I had just got married in 1993 in February, and then we moved here in June of 93.
And I moved here in 83, so I've been here.
Yeah, so we've been here a long time. I feel like we're kind of grandfathered in.
Yeah.
Right? But anyway, hunting-wise, I grew up, I cut my teeth hunting black-tailed deer in the Marble Mountains and the Trinity Alps of Northern California. I really grew up, the town I grew up in, the name of it is Yreka, California. It's not Eureka, California. People get those confused all the time. I think population at that time was about 3,500 people or so. And we were about 20 miles from the Oregon border. So really, we were in the mountains. It's not the typical California that you think of when you.
And that's what people think. A lot of times you lived in the city, and
exactly.
And
not the case at all. It was more rural than a lot of the spots here in Idaho, in fact. But anyway, it doesn't matter. You have that stigma, I think. But anyway, so
half the people that live, a good portion of people live here from out of state somewhere, not necessarily just California. But so I don't be offended by. We've had a lot of growth here in California in Idaho, from people all over. And fortunately, I feel like most people that are moving here is to get away from certain aspects of other states that Idaho does conservative, like Idaho being conservative like it is for the most part. It's nice that most people they're kind of like-minded.
Exactly.
So it's easy to, like we are,
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of people that do move here have the same values that we have. Hopefully that's the case for most of them. Yeah. Make sure it is for you if you decide to move to Idaho. But anyway, let's talk about the name. Let's talk about the name Seasoned Hunter. Tell me where that was your baby. Tell me where it came from.
Well, just when I say, and I don't claim to be the world's greatest hunter by no means at all, but I guess the word seasoned to me, I've always said, when people say, "Oh, you're old," I said, "No, I'm seasoned." So I kind of came off of that because, experienced, I guess, could be. And there was a lot of years there that I hunted a lot. I mean, a lot. And I'd work hard and play hard type thing. And I know you only go around life once. And so I see, I'd have, friends that would tell me, "Man, I wish I could do what you do," and it's like, well, you can. Right. And I guess at that time, a lot of it was, it's not that was my only priority, but I mean, I did do what I had to do for work and life and everything. But then on the other hand, every little second I could spare for shooting or hunting or whatever, I would do it. And so that's what I remember I would schedule, I have my own business, so I would work my behind off, and I was, for the most part, a one-man show, but I had help at times, and I would work my butt off all summer. And, I remember times where I would be like, I was doing siding and some flooring, and I'd be waiting for it to get light enough so I can hammer my first nail in siding. And then I'd get off work there when it started getting really hot by 1 or so in the afternoon, go home, take a shower, and go and work at the archery shop till closing. Why did I work at the archery shop? For the most part, to pay off whatever I was buying that year. And I can remember, having, my hours just rack up and thousands of dollars on my, my credit. And then, I'd buy whatever, so I was pretty fortunate when it come to that. And then I'd take time off, and then I started guiding. And so I added that in the mix too in the fall. And I did that for a lot of years too. And it was never a job for me. And I always told myself I would quit when it became where I wasn't looking forward to getting up, to go help with a client or whatever.
Right.
And it never did, fortunately. I only had literally just like a couple that stick out in my mind as far as clients that were kind of a pain in the butt, if you want to call them.
Right.
But you just deal with it. People are people. We got to take them for how they are. And worst case scenario, you just walk their ass in the ground and then they become butter in your hands. It's one thing I found. But
how's that work out for the tip?
I did pretty well as far as tips goes, at least for those times. It's been quite a few years since I've did just that, professionally, or like do the whole fall. I still do some a little bit for Hobie, but for the most part, back then I would pretty much leave between around August or so, and not get back. And if I went down to Mexico and guided, I wouldn't be back till, sometimes February, just depend on, and it worked out good. I mean, as good as that type of business is, I was happy. I was happy.
Right.
It's fun times for me.
Yeah, and for the people that don't know, Hobie, he mentioned Hobie. Hobie's Hobie Gardner. He's the owner of Deadline Outfitters, which is here in southern Idaho. And if you haven't, and I've actually done a lot of filming for Hobie and his clients as well. And if you haven't checked out their website or checked out some of the videos that I've done for them, they kill some tremendous animals. And that's something that, I think we're super fortunate here. I think we're spoiled with the size of the animals that are around us, especially the elk and moose.
Yeah.
Deer, not quite so much. There's some great deer hunting and some big bucks too, but just right here in our local area, the deer and the elk, the elk and the moose are incredibly sized for, especially for the Shiras moose. It's unbelievable how big they are. So anyway.
Yeah, I was fortunate to work. In fact, I got Hobie's first job guiding. After a couple of years after I'd started, he got a hold of me and said, I want to be a guide, and everything. And he was experienced, somewhat experienced hunter, but just for himself. But he'd go out with people and things like that. Mm-hmm. So I got him a job as a guide and his wife a job as a cook before they had kids. So they went around as this team, and everyone loved him. And then when he started this business up south here, I knew he would turn that into, something good, and he has. He's pushed for more tags to get more tags for that area, and turned his lodge into. He's got a spectacular lodge and does pheasants hunts off season, and it's turned out a really good thing for him. And John's got a chance to, like you said, do some filming. We've worked together some up there too.
Yep.
And I have. So
it's
been a lot of fun.
It has. I'm super grateful for Hobie, honestly, for letting me tag along on some of those hunts. A camera guy can be kind of a pain sometimes, but they've been really patient with me, and I think they hopefully like the results of some of those films that we turned out for them.
Some of the experience I've had in the past with some TV show type stuff, guiding, most of the time you're right. The camera, you got to be like on it. The camera guy has to be on it.
Right.
And the best camera guys, some of the best camera guys I've seen of guys who are actually good hunters too.
Right. I think that's so important.
Yeah.
I mean, especially even like archery, if you're filming an archery hunt, you have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
As a camera guy. As a camera guy, you need to know what you're doing as a hunter and what he's anticipating, and you got to get so close, and you need to be able to have the ability to be stealthy.
Yeah.
And
I did a lot with Hunter Specialties for a lot of years, and we'd have camera guys there. man, there was a couple camera guys that they were awesome. I remember them sometimes spotting game. They'd have their binoculars. Some of the good camera guys were doing what they had to do, but they also had binoculars, and they're out there kind of helping as much as they can too.
It honestly, like, you're not only a camera guy when you're out there doing that stuff, you're a spotter because you do. I mean, I guess if you're good at what you do, and I do a lot of, I've done a lot of this with especially with Hobie and his guides and stuff. But you're a spotter. When you kill an animal, you are definitely a packer. You help, on the moose and stuff. The more help you can get skinning that animal, the better. So I never really did a lot of skinning. That's kind of the guide's gig right there. I don't want to step.
You're mostly filming, but you're still
filming, and you want to film all that stuff. So I'll usually be filming during that aspect of the hunt. But yeah, you're not just a camera guy for sure.
Yeah, and I the whole filming thing, especially after getting involved with you as far as editing and all that type of thing, I've taken it a little bit more serious. There's still times where I'm like, gosh, sometimes you just don't have time, especially if you're solo.
Right.
You got to make it a priority. And that's one thing I've found. And
right.
There's been a few hunts I've been on where I'm like, sorry, John, because maybe it didn't turn out so well. And
especially when you're solo, and if you're not just a camera guy, it's so easy to say, forget that. I don't want to film that stuff.
Yeah.
And
elk hunting, like when you're moving on them and trying to film, gosh, it can be challenging.
Exactly. Yeah. I had an elk hunt this last fall, and this bull, and he's pretty nice. He wasn't huge, but he's a decent bull, 6-point bull that he'd laid down right in sagebrush. It was maybe half of my shin height, and that's where he laid down at. So I tried to make a move on him, and you're trying to film, and you just screw it up. And at that point, I actually did. I bagged the camera. I was solo, and he took off. He started to take off. I called him, and he didn't come back. He looked around, but then I put a decoy up. I'm getting sidetracked here. Sorry. Called him again, and he came bulleting in. But man, anyway. I wanted to try and film it, and I couldn't. And I ended up screwing it up. Basically, is what happened. But
well, if we killed them every single time we went out, it probably wouldn't be as fun.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
It's
called hunting, not getting. Right?
That's true. I can't tell you how many times I've said that the best experience out in the field is screwing up and learning from it.
Right.
But you got to look back and say, hey, what did I learn from that? What could I have done different?
Right.
And my theory has always been I try to treat every stalk, every hunting scenario as if it's the only one I'm going to get that year.
Right.
Because more times than there's a lot of times that is it. And, you can't always think, years and years and years ago, as a seasoned hunter says, you knew that if you messed it up, you're going to have another chance. And a lot of times on public land, like we hunt most all the time is public land, that's what you're going to get is just one opportunity. So you got to capitalize on it and really think about, make your moves count.
Right. Right.
Even if you end up screwing it up, at least, you just got to have that mindset. I think that's what a lot of it is just your mindset.
Sure. Nope. Totally agree. We haven't mentioned this yet, but let's talk about the people that have kind of helped us out company wise.
Oh yeah.
We've been doing this, for a long time, and I don't really want to call them sponsors.
Yeah, just
affiliations.
Yeah.
And it's been so awesome over the last couple of years. Darrell and I think we both kind of got a little more serious about this whole thing.
Yeah.
And we do have a few companies that have helped us out.
Nomad has been
Nomad's probably number one for us.
Yeah.
They have been amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know that. Hopefully they know how much we appreciate what they've done for us. It's been,
and sometimes we feel
incredible.
like we really haven't done enough for them, but the stuff we do for them, they love it.
Right.
And that's how, we weren't looking for anything free or necessarily discount or any of that. It kind of fell in my lap, and I just thought it would be a good fit with you and I
Right.
it's kind of hard to do solo. So I thought of you first because of our filming and
Right.
stuff, our
Right.
experience together. And then, yeah, that's rolled into like Red Line Archery with some of their new equipment coming out, and sights and quivers and stabilizers. And
Which we're brand new. Well, they're brand new, at least the sights and quiver into their business.
Yeah.
And we're really new to them too. How'd that work out? How did we get connected with that actually?
So actually, one of the guys who worked for Nomad, Eric Young, he rolled over and started helping his friend that had got going with that and marketing for Redline. And because Eric knew us so well from Nomad, he kind of just told us, yeah, you guys need to, try some of this out. And,
right.
And in which also rolled into Trophy Line saddles, which from Tree Stand, the Tree Stand side of it, a tree saddle, which John and I are really excited about.
Super excited.
This year. Yeah,
I've never sat in a tree saddle before.
This will be the first year. I've shot plenty of elk off the ground. In fact, every elk I've ever shot has been off the ground. But this year, I'm actually going to give it a try. Not saying that's where I'll end up killing one, but I'm going to give it a try over Walla this year with the tree saddle. Yeah, and I've already been making, I've made quite a few contacts. People, some of the future shows we'll have with some seasoned hunters. And
right.
It's kind of, there's lots of new hunters out there and lots of guys who've been hunting for a few years that are on a lot of podcasts. And so we're focusing not only on that, but as well as some of the people have been around for a lot of years. And I hoping people will open their minds up and, you can learn a lot of things from wisdom.
Right.
And, from old school type, just getting your boots in the dirt and
exactly
shoot, as well as I do. Forever we didn't have. I remember my first GPS I got. I don't even know what year it was. And guys are trying to show me how to use it, and I'm thinking, all I want to know is where my truck is.
Right. Right.
Or camp, and where the dead animal is if I need to get to it. Because how many years do we use surveyor's tape?
Right. Right.
Occasionally I'll be walking in the mountains and I'll find surveyor's tape and I'm thinking, I wonder what this led to.
Right.
If it was somebody marking a tree to cut down, or was it somebody actually trying to get to an animal and they missed that one,
Right.
So, because I actually been back in an area. I remember one time going in and I missed a couple because I went out a different route. And then the next year I was in that same area and I found them again, pulled them off.
That's funny. That's funny.
But anyway, as far as seasoned hunter goes, that's kind of where that came from. We anticipate some great guests coming up. So, one thing I was going to mention too is that, we're just a couple guys who have regular jobs and enjoy the outdoors, enjoy doing some of these things like filming and now this, that we just thought we'd kind of try to share, maybe hopefully bring a different angle to it. What do you think?
A seasoned hunter angle.
Yeah.
Right.
A seasoned hunter angle.
No, I think, we've done this for a long time and we certainly aren't experts for sure, but hopefully we have something.
I still learn.
Right?
The minute you think you arrived,
right,
you're not arriving. You're going backwards. You always got to be open-minded.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And feel like there's more out there to
right.
learn. And that's why, there's a lot of guys who are a lot younger than us, that are doing shows and podcasts and seminars and those type of things that you can always pick up things from them. I have. And sometimes it's kind of nice too, some of the people that have been doing it a long time that I listen to their side of it and we're totally like-minded, and it kind of just reiterates that, maybe I did kind of know the right thing to do.
More than you thought you knew?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like I said, I certainly don't know. Not saying I know everything, because I certainly don't. But,
right.
But still, it's nice, when things come together on
right.
a hunt. And,
right.
But, yeah, even like that deer hunt a few years ago you filmed where it was going to turn what was going to be a half hour to an hour stock turned into what?
Oh yeah, the one. Yes, 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, 2-3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, my cell phone ended up dying.
Oh yeah, your cell phone died.
So Darrell left me behind.
But you couldn't. That wouldn't have been a good hunt.
Yeah.
Or a good thing for you to be right next to me. You had a good.
I had a
vantage
good
point.
angle from
Yeah.
where I was at, so I was able to film everything from right where I was. So it worked out perfectly. So it was an archery hunt and
Around farmland.
and it was
97 degrees.
it was hot, and it was a last spur of the moment hunt too, because Darrell and I were actually leaving the next morning to go antelope hunting, and Darrell called me. Did you call me that morning?
I ran into you in the store the night
that's
before.
right.
I was getting snacks to go antelope hunting,
Right.
And you were in there shopping to go antelope hunting too.
Right.
And I ran into you. I go, hey, I just found that buck. I scouted a little bit.
Right.
I scouted him a few times, and then I lost him. He disappeared for whatever reason. But I went back out there, actually on opening day, I think it was, and found him again that evening. But I didn't take my bow. I just had my spot and scope and binoculars.
Mm-hmm.
Found him again and went, you know what? I think I'm going to put a quick hunt in tomorrow morning. And so I
Quick
asked
hunt.
if you wanted to go. I said, let's just go out there for a couple hours.
Right.
And I left, didn't take a pack, no water, no food, blah, 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 nothing. Figured it was going to be kind of a quick hunt. Either it'd work or it wouldn't. And was kind of excited about getting out to leave for antelope. And then I left probably 7:30ish.
Yeah, because we spotted that buck right at daylight,
Yeah.
right?
He was
We
within
found him right
100
away.
yards of where I lost him at dark the night
Night
before.
before.
And I think I shot him at 4:30 or
Yeah,
something ridiculous. But I
Yeah.
just remember baking in the sun,
yeah.
virtually no shade.
It was kind of funny too, because Darrell would, like he said, he didn't take his pack. We didn't think it was going to be, too long. Honestly, I had all the water, so I was sending him cell phone pictures of me drinking water and stuff, because it was. What'd you say? It was 87 degrees. 97 degrees that day. It was super hot, and so I was giving him a hard time
I was so
about that.
parched when I
Pretty
got
funny.
back. First things out of my mouth was, "Where's the water?"
Right. I think I ended up taking a couple naps while I was waiting for Darrell to do his thing, but
Yeah.
it was kind of fun.
Yeah,
to
we
watch
couldn't
him.
communicate at all, because initially we had cell phone, and I think you forgot to charge your phone or something. And
I did, yeah, and I didn't
40%.
have a charger for my phone. There was no way, so yeah,
took my
it
truck.
died. It died like
Yeah.
halfway through the day after I
Yeah.
sent so many pictures.
That's what it was. You burned it up. It was a fun hunt. I mean, we got it done and everything.
That was a great
And-
buck too.
Yeah, it was pretty. That was my first velvet. I usually don't hunt them that early,
Right.
and so he was still in velvet, and yeah, that was a really good hunt,
Right.
really fun hunt. And then we went out. We were on like an hour or two of sleep by the time we got out antelope hunting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not much. And then literally. At what time did we get to antelope?
2 or I don't know,
So,
it's
yeah, I
probably
think it was
2 o'clock in
2,
the morning.
at least 2:00 in the morning, and then we were
might
up
have got
by
a few hours sleep. I remember we slept under the stars because we didn't want to put tent up. We were so tired.
exactly.
We actually pulled everything off your trailer.
Right, and we slept
Put our
on I had a flatbed trailer that I hauled
Side by side.
side by side. I call it buggy. If you guys watch any of my videos, you'll see me call him buggy. It's buggy. I do a lot of hunting by myself. Buggy's my friend sometimes. But anyway, we slept. We threw cots, I think, on the trailer,
Beautiful
which
night
wasn't
that
bad.
night.
It was gorgeous. And then we got there and we had to set up didn't we have to set blinds?
Oh, yeah. That's right. We
Yeah,
had to set
so
up blinds that night.
I think it was like 3 or 4 in the morning before we got to
probably was.
bed, and then we got back in the blind at 7,
Yeah.
and
Didn't kill nothing.
didn't kill anything. I screwed up our only.
That was a
chance.
rough year. If you remember, I ended up killing mine the last day of the season or something. I got to go out like 1 or 2 more times, and I wasn't last day. I think it was the last day. That's one thing about antelope. I love antelope meat and I love antelope hunting, but because it's in September, elk's going on,
Right.
And so it's not
challenging.
as much of a. Used to be, years ago, started August 15th,
Right,
and you can go hunt antelope before elk season.
right,
But when they changed it, in that, especially the draw that we put in for starts in the middle of September, or close to the middle of September.
right.
So it it's just getting time to hunt elk.
I know that's always the downfall of that antelope.
So I usually just give it a couple days.
Right.
And fortunately, I've been pretty lucky to get it done. Sometimes it takes longer, but
Right.
I remember years ago when I was telling you, talked about me hunting, 10, 14 days. I wouldn't even leave. I might go out before the 20th and for a couple days. But when I was going to be serious and going to be gone, like my 10-day hunt, I'd call it, it would be, I'd usually leave right around the 20th September. And I figured by then everyone, the weekend warriors,
Exactly.
or the guys who had vacation took their vacation or whatever. And I cannot tell you how many elk I was fortunate enough to get within the first day or so with nobody around.
Right.
It's not, there's a lot more hunters out there now.
A fact. That's a fact.
But it is what it is. You just got to
Right.
learn to work around it. And
Yeah. I mean, we all have the right to be there, and
Right.
a lot of people enjoy that. And I think even now with the whole COVID thing that's happened over the last 2 years, I feel like I feel like there's more hunters.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know any stats on that stuff, but
Idaho did change their non-resident tag, not the whole quota, but on they taken the quotas in each unit and changed them so there's less non-residents. And the way I look at it, I know people may disagree with this, but let's face it. I mean, no matter what state you're in, for the most part, especially out west here, these states rely on non-resident funds to help manage wildlife.
right.
And it's a lot of times a big portion to pay for wages or habitat or whatever.
Right.
So it is what it is. And I mean,
Right.
I feel lucky that we can just still go hunt every year.
Right.
And at this point,
And I do feel like, well, two things. One, I feel like you can get away from the crowds if you want to work hard enough. And we're, not young anymore, but we still have the ability to do that. And we do that. It is getting harder. I mean, more and more people are willing to do the backcountry type stuff. And so that, but having said that, I mean, there's areas that I've elk hunted and you could go for, a backcountry hunt and not ever see another person. And now those exact same areas, you'll see 3 or 4 camps in there and not as many elk, but they're still there.
Yeah, one area I hunted for a lot of years, I remember an outfitter actually put in a drop camp, and literally right in the middle of some of the best habitat. It was a great camping spot, but it was also a great bedding area, and there was water there and everything for the elk. And I remember that year I left. I saw one elk, passed up a bull opening day because I figured I'm coming back for a week, got back in there, and I saw quite a bit of elk when my first hunt there. And I went back in there, and there was a camp right in that spot where I'd shot an elk a couple of years before, like right in that, within 50 yards where I shot that bull. And the next morning I got up and I saw one cow. And I watched them guys, trying to go up a drainage from the bottom with the wind blowing up from the bottom.
Of course.
Going right up in the canyon. And I just looked at that and went, yeah, I think I'm out of here. I'm going to go somewhere else. I ended up going back the last day of the season. I didn't even think I was going to even get to hunt in there anymore. And went back. I got there, I think, midnight the last day of the season that night before, and slept in my truck for a few hours, walked in there. Camp was still in there and hadn't packed it out, and ended up finding a bull and shot a bull like at 1:30 that afternoon. Had to go to work the next day, called a buddy up to come and help me get the bull out, and everything worked out. But in fact, it turned out to be, because I'll never forget, it was a 5x6 bull with devil's horns, and that was the one I passed up. And after I shot that bull, I went up to him as a 5x6 bull with devil's horns.
Yeah, that's
same
funny.
bull.
That's hilarious.
2 drainages over.
Right, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy story.
Anyway, so we'll look forward to more podcasts coming up,
Right.
and
A lot of stories to tell, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have some stories and some other people on there with some good stories.
Exactly.
Some other seasoned hunters.
Yep. Yeah, so part of what we want to do with this, I think, is just what Darrell just said, is interview other people that have been doing this for a long time and kind of get their intake. Hopefully there will be some information that will help everyone. If not, enjoy some good stories, I guess.
Oh, yeah. You can never hear enough good stories.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm personally looking forward to getting going on this thing, and
Yeah, me
I
too.
think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, I appreciate us getting together and doing this, and look forward to a lot more.
yeah. I think there's a lot more that we have to talk about for sure.
Yeah.
As we're sitting here talking, this is our first one, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, we can talk about this. We can talk about this. We got just years of experience doing a lot of different stuff. And, off the top of my head, I think we could do probably an entire podcast about, just me and you talking without anyone else.
Yeah.
Bear hunting,
Yeah.
elk hunting, antelope hunting, deer hunting. I mean, we can, we got a lot of stories to share, a lot of information to share. As you can probably see in the background, I do a lot of shed hunting. Darrell's not a shed hunter, but I certainly would like to throw that into this whole mix as well.
I have nothing against shed hunting at all. I just usually have other things going.
Right.
Like I mentioned earlier, I usually go in springtime. I'll try to make a trip out to California, do pig and
Right.
turkey hunting, or
Right.
some turkey hunting here in Idaho
Right.
when I can. And
That is the
bear
challenge.
hunting.
Yeah, exactly. That's the challenge with shed hunting is bear hunting is right kind of that same time frame, and turkey. So
Sometimes it's as popular as shed hunting has gotten.
Yes.
The guys that used to almost make a living out of it can no longer do that,
Right.
because there's so many people out there.
Right.
And because of that, it seems like you used to have a lot longer time because there's so few shed hunters out there.
Right.
This is talking to people like even you.
Right.
And now, you only got a short window because there's so many people out there at the same time.
Well, and it's made
Is that right?
No, it is. And it's made it such a competition between people that, yeah,
It's almost like hunting spots.
it is. It's like hunting spots, but it's also, I got to be the first guy there.
Yeah.
And that's, in my opinion, opinions differ, but I think, Fish and Game agrees, especially in a lot of states, that it affects the wildlife, and
Yeah.
you push them around when they're really, just went through a rough winter or whatever. And,
Well, I remember just not long ago, I don't know, several weeks back, I guess, 4 weeks, whatever, 3 weeks, that you had went out and told me that, you were kind of just checking things out.
right.
But you saw some animals and you stayed away from them. You
Right.
didn't want to push them. And it wasn't long right before that, a week or so before that, I saw some guys posting on social media about how they're out there shed hunting. And then they showed pictures of some animals too. And they were close to the animals because it was obviously taken with their, the video footage is taken with their phone. And then the animals running off. And when I saw that, I actually ended up putting a post. Wasn't trying to stir up anything at all, and I have nothing against shed hunting. But I just want people to be aware of that time of year, especially this year in Idaho. We got a little bit of snow around Christmas time and everything. Then we've had kind of a long stretch of cold snap.
Right.
And if they've depleted a lot of their fat source, getting pushed around doesn't help. And it's unfortunate because you get people out there that could not really. It's not that they don't care; they're just not really thinking about that. All they're thinking
Right.
about is getting those horns,
Right.
But I appreciated you as far as being aware of that.
Right. Well, look, this is how it is. This is my opinion. None of us like to be governed much, but if you don't do what you need to do to protect things, you're going to get governed, meaning they're going to set seasons here.
Yeah.
States have set seasons for shed hunting. At Nevada, we're not far from. You can't shed hunt there until May 1st.
Yeah.
Which, whatever. People are still doing
Other
it,
states,
in my opinion.
yeah.
But point is, if you don't want those regulations here, especially here in Idaho, because, that's where I'm most familiar with, then don't do dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Don't do dumb stuff, and you're not going to get regulated. If you don't, my biggest pet peeve is there's areas where they close the roads down. I'm going to get fired up here because this stuff really irritates me. They close the roads down to protect the wildlife.
Yeah.
So it's still okay for you to walk in there. It's still okay to go look for sheds, year round if you wanted to, but the roads are closed for a reason, and nothing drives me more nuts than people you finding tracks on those frickin' roads when they're closed. And that's exactly what's going to get things more governed, and
I don't own a buggy.
Right?
I do see, where they be, especially like antelope hunting,
Right.
bouncy roads out there like that type of thing. And I know there's place for them, but nothing against them at all. Personally, I don't have them. But unfortunately, I've seen a lot of abuse where they'll be on top of a ridge and there's absolutely no road up there. Four-wheelers, just any of those type of things. But
right.
And it is frustrating. I feel like I don't know how else to say it, but lazy.
Right.
When you can't, I got to walk up there, and it's not that, I don't know. I guess it is frustrating. Because exactly like you says, the more people that don't pay attention to that, the more restrictions we're going to get.
Right.
And I mean, there is a lot of places where you cannot go off the main road now, not even side trails.
Right. Exactly.
And I've had them mess me up in the past, and I get a little ticked off.
Right.
But it is what it is, I guess.
People just,
all you can do is it comes down to this. You got to be able to look in the mirror and know that you did the right thing. As long as you can do that, then you can't control, unfortunately, other people's actions.
Right. 100%.
Anyway.
Cool.
All right, brother. I think we'll wrap this
Success.
one up. Yeah. And hopefully people just got a little taste of what we got going to have in the future. And
what's your hopes for how often we're putting these out?
I'm hoping to do it once a week.
Right.
That's kind of what our plan is. Mm-hmm. And with hunt season coming up, we'll see how it goes. I don't see why we shouldn't be able to do it once a week.
Right.
And we'll have it on Sagebruck Outdoor on the
YouTube channel.
YouTube channel.
Yep.
And it'll probably be on iTunes.
Yeah, we'll put it on all of the...
I do an audio and a video.
Exactly, so there'll be plenty of spots to watch it from on the YouTube channel or whatever. I mean, if you guys have questions that you want to ask us, I would love to get into answering people's questions as well. If we,
talk a little bit about both of our social media.
Yeah, we probably should have mentioned that already. So we both have... Instagram and Facebook pages. Darrell's is at Darrell Ponch. Is there an underscore?
Nunez.ponch.darrell is my Instagram. And then Darrell Ponch Nunez on Facebook.
Gotcha.
We'll probably have we got a Facebook page also for Sagebruck Outdoors, and then having season hunters as well. Right.
And then I do have, Facebook. We do have the Sagebruck Outdoors Facebook page. I have my own personal Facebook page, John Tolbert. So you can check those out. At Sagebruck Outdoors for Instagram. And I also have a website, Sagebruck Productions. Excuse me. That's my old name. I just changed it lately, about a year ago. We changed it from Sagebruck Productions to Sagebruck Outdoors. I just thought it was more
because you've broadened so much more, huh? We
have, and it was a long time coming. I should have done it a long time ago, but I had that Sagebruck Productions probably 10 years, and I finally decided it made sense to rebrand a little bit and go with the outdoor thing. I felt like it fit what we do a little bit better.
That's pretty much all it's been, is for the most part, is outdoor stuff.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah. So it's Sagebruck Productions. I just did it again. It's sagebuckoutdoors.com is the website. We've got a lot of stuff on there, amongst other things. I guess I can throw myself a little promotion here. I do some t-shirt, hoodies, hats. We sell all that kind of stuff. We're going to have some merch for Seasoned Hunter coming really soon. We're working on the designs for that as we speak. That's another one of my many freaking bad habits. I think one of my little things that I do. I just spend a lot of time.
You don't
behind
have enough things going
exactly.
on.
Yeah. So we would. Yeah, I don't have enough things going on. So I did anyway. I edit. I mean, I do some Photoshop and Illustrator type stuff and design logos for our stuff, and then I've done a handful of logos for other people too. And that's
your
kind of
I Am Idaho. Those have really taken.
Yeah, so we have. It's actually pretty cool. We have a hunting side of the T-shirt, the apparel business, I guess I should call it.
Swag.
It's a swag, but yeah. So we have the hunting side of it, and I have several different designs for that. We'll leave a link in the comments or in the description below for the website. Actually, you can check it out. But anyway, we have those, and then we have another side that's kind of Idaho based, and the name of the company is I Am Idaho, and we sell all that stuff on there as well. And it's just Idaho based apparel. We got some more new cool stuff coming out this spring, focusing a lot on the 4th of July aspect of what's going on. So that'll be kind of fun. So go
Appreciate
check that
you guys
stuff out.
subscribing to us too, as we certainly want to grow and maybe spread out.
Right. Yeah. If you like this kind of stuff, man, tell your friends too. I mean, we need, people watching. It's what helps us grow. We got to, make the algorithms are based on views and comments and subscriptions and all that kind of stuff. So all that stuff will help us out a lot. So if you want to do that, tell your friends about it. That would be awesome too. What else you got, buddy?
I think that's about it for this week. And we'll look forward to doing another one here this next week. And there we go with it.
Yeah. Lots more to talk about.
Yep.
As we're sitting here talking, I just started to say earlier, I'm getting excited about all the other stuff that
and we
I want to talk about, but it's like we do like a 5-hour flipping podcast.
But we also, I don't want it. We both decided we don't really want it scripted.
Right.
We just kind of go with it.
Yep.
And granted, there'll be times where we have a guest on, we want to have certain questions we want to ask.
Exactly.
And speaking of which, I got one for you, John. I want you to tell me something.
Great.
That no one really knows about you. Not no deep, dark secret we might not want to know about, but not just something that you think that a lot of people maybe not even know about you. Can you think of anything?
Why'd you put me on the spot like that?
I don't know.
I'm a pretty open book.
He's got something.
No, I don't, but like I am, and this is something else we can talk about on the show. A lot of people that I work with and stuff know this about me, but outside of work and family, they don't. I exercise a lot, and basically daily, 7 days a week. It's just a thing for me, and I feel like that helps keep you in the mountains longer. I mean, like I said, we're not getting younger, and we want to do this for as long as we can. So I don't know that that's something people don't know about me. I'll have to think about that. There's a couple other things that probably I'm not going to say on here, but
I've been fortunate. My guy I hunt with quite a bit, Matt. He's a trainer type.
Right.
Done a lot of training, been in the fitness business for a lot of years. He's really helped me a lot. And one thing I know that's helped a lot is got me on this program now of stretching. And as we get older, even when you're younger, I mean, stretching is just a good thing to do.
Right.
And I think a lot of people miss that. When I say miss it, they miss the importance of it.
Right.
Keeping those joints stretched and those tendons stretched and all that does make a big difference. And he's kind of brought that into my regimen, if you will.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's been a good thing of mine.
Here's something that I do now that we're sitting here talking. I don't feel like I'm on the spot so much, but an odd thing that I do is I keep track of all kinds of things. The exercise thing, I keep track of how many days I set goals for myself, how many days I work out in a row. 2 years ago, my goal was to run or do cardio. I shouldn't necessarily run, but do some sort of cardio every day for an entire year.
Yeah.
So, and I did. So I started, I would literally just make a hash mark on a board and count down the days or whatever. And I ended up making it 371 days before I took a day off.
Oh,
so
nice.
Yeah. And I finally actually had to take a day off. I was so beat up. My knees were sore, and I'd finally decided, this probably isn't the smartest thing I've ever done. My body needed to rest. So we did take a short break there.
Or stretch.
And I stretch every day. In fact, you were talking about Matt. Matt gave me some stretches. When I first met Matt,
we'll be having Matt on the podcast for sure, because he's definitely, when it comes to fitness,
he's a solid source.
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
But anyway, we were on a hunt, and at the time, didn't know, my hip was absolutely killing me. And he gave me some stretches to start doing, and it took a few weeks, but it cured my problem. So that was probably 3-4 years ago. I still do those stretches almost every single day. So, but anyway, whatever. There you go. How about you?
Oh, you didn't have to ask me.
I know. It's not that
my
easy.
Family no, it's pretty easy. I can tell you that my family does call me Squirrel, because I am definitely one of those guys. John's known me well enough. I'm kind of a high-strung guy. Would you say?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
I hear that a lot. Man, where you get all your energy, and I don't know. I do have a fair amount of energy for the most part, but I am pretty bad about,
staying on task, actually. Yeah. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I've been on hunts. Yeah. We went to Nevada archery hunting with him one time, and actually a couple different times. Antelope one time, and deer. Oh, no, I didn't go on the deer hunt. But we've been to Nevada a couple times for antelope hunt. And you'll get down and you think you're going to be spending 3-4 days down there hunting. And that evening, he's like, man, I got to get back to Twin. I got stuff I got to do.
Well, antelope hunt, we were banking on that water hole that time. But we did put a stock. Almost should have had that one buck.
Right.
Yeah, anyway, yeah. But, I kind of have a bad habit of, and I try not to. So bad, I try not to, but. Squirrel. Here I go.
Yeah.
And so, I've got squirrel socks and squirrel shirts and squirrel hats and squirrel figurines all through my house. And that seems to be the gift.
That's hilarious.
Especially my stepdaughters there. I get Christmas. I got a few different things.
Right.
I get things done eventually, but especially home projects. That's where it seems like it's mostly shown.
Right.
I'll start something and walk by. Oh man, I forgot to get that. Better get that done. And then it's like, oh, what was I? Oh yeah, I got to go finish that.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, man. We'll wrap this up, and then next show will be up here pretty soon.
Sounds good.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate you.